Hello and welcome to Diniz Farms. We're back with another episode of Mercer County. Last time we harvested the short season soybeans here in this field by the farm, and unexpectedly they were ready before all of our other fields, even though it was the last field that we planted. And so we're going to get this combine washed up here real quick and switch it over to corn, because we've got 3 cornfields that are ready today. So we've gotten all switched over here to corn, and I think what we're going to do is actually start with the field that we've got right behind the bins here. All 3 of our cornfields are looking pretty good and ready for harvest right now. So it's easier to start up by the farm when we're able. Get all the kinks worked out, get everything set up and going here. And then at some point, we're going to have to switch back to beans. But our 2 bean fields that we have left to harvest are just not quite ready yet. So I think what we'll do is we'll get started here by taking off this headland. And then we'll head back in here behind the bins in the farm site and see if we can open things up all the way around the field here. I do want to be conscious of how big the grain tank is on our combine here, so we don't get trapped too far back behind the bins and the woods and everything back here where it's too hard to get the grain cart back to unload us. Now we got to be really careful with these trees here. That could have been disastrous, so I think what we'll do is actually come back up here and kiss that bush a little bit and then pull back into our row here. Realistically, in real life, I might have just backed up all the way here and taken the next 12 rows from the farm entrance here, but that's alright. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you may know that I've just recently had surgery, so I've been down and away from the channel for several days here. So I apologize in advance if the sound in today's video is a little bit off. My voice has not quite recovered from the effects of having anesthesia and all of that good stuff, so we're trying this video out today. Hopefully we'll get through the video. We'll see how it turns out in editing, but I really wanted to get back to things. I was missing the farm, missing getting videos out for you guys, and so we'll see how it goes. And we'll be playing the live streams by ear here. I know a lot of people like to show up for the live streams. We live stream on the Diniz Farms channel here every Tuesday and Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So hopefully tomorrow night, this video should come out sometime Monday afternoon here. So hopefully tomorrow night we'll be back to live streaming. So we're going to continue to open this up. I'm watching my grain tank. It looks like we've got a fair amount of capacity left here still. And so I think what we'll do is take a headland pass off here by these trees as well, and then head back up by the bins there, because I don't want to get full back here in the corner. It'll be a little difficult to get a grain cart back here to unload me. Those are some pretty thick bushes there, so I wouldn't want to be driving the grain cart through all that mess. So it's looking like it's going to be easiest to just head back up here towards the bins. I think I could probably squeeze the grain cart down in here now that we've opened things up and unload the combine here along these longer rows. We're getting some decent yields, it looks like, so I'm happy with that. We're already mostly full here. I'm going to turn the HUD on because I don't remember what the fill plane on this particular combine looks like, but we've already done we got 252 bushel an acre corn coming in here, so that's pretty good. We're in a pretty good spot here. We're about to hit our fill capacity in a moment here, so hopefully we can just make it to the corner of this field and finish opening up these this curve here a bit, get that all cleaned up. That'd be nice. So with the combine all full here, I'm going to go ahead and just back this up here along the edge of the field. That'll give me enough room to get a grain cart up alongside us. And let's go see if we can grab the grain cart real quick. And so you may remember we went down to just 2 tractors on the farm here when we bought the self-propelled sprayer. So the 7830 here is going to be our grain cart tractor this year. And we no longer have the 8000 series tractor. We do have the 9000 in the shed there that we're using for tillage and stuff still. But this is going to be our main tractor this year for all the odd jobs. It works great on the planter. It works great on this grain cart. And so we've got no complaints. It was good to consolidate while also getting a solid piece of equipment that we were able to do a lot of contracts with over the summer months here. That spraying really kept the farm afloat this year. So with the combine all emptied out here, I think what I'm going to do is actually spin this grain cart around. And we're just going to leave it in the corner here so that we can come back and dump into this when we need. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to end up in this field, but it's not going to take us very long to get everything done here. And so having the grain cart somewhere central like this will mean it's easy to get to no matter what part of the field we're in. And so we're going to just take these curvy bits out of the field here, get everything squared up so that we can start heading up and down here. And so I think my plan is going to be to head up to the end of the field here and take the last lane down over here alongside these trees and let us finish getting this field completely opened up with at least one pass. So I think that for these rows, we're going to work them up and down here along the long side. And then similarly for the other rows back here behind the bins, we'll probably work those the other direction. I think that's probably how I would have planted this field in real life, given the length of the field. If we were to take 2 headland passes all the way around this field, we'd essentially be done harvesting this bit in the back here, it seems like. It's not that wide. So I think that we'll probably actually just do that and kind of keep going around here. Looks like we've got a little bit of a dead spot here in the back of the field. For once, it's not completely square. It's kind of rounded out there, so it actually looks kind of cool that way. I'm not a big fan of how the texture changes depending on how far away you are from it. I wish that, like right now, it looks like tall corn that's dead, but when you drove over it, it was much shorter, so it's a little bit disorienting. But I do really enjoy these destroyed crop textures on the ground here. When you drive over it, it knocks the corn stalks down and stuff. That's one of my favorite features that have come to a lot of maps, and I really like how it looks. It gives you a little bit more sense of realism here, immersion on the harvest side of things, which is my favorite part of the map. And I can't recall if I said it earlier, but my voice is still getting back to normal. It was one of the unexpected outcomes of having surgery, was that my voice was going to be in such rough shape for so many days following. Didn't expect that there were going to be several days where I essentially almost couldn't even talk. So we're getting back to normal here, folks. And hopefully when we get back into editing this video out, it's not going to be too painful, and we can get this out for everybody here and get back on track with our video schedule. We are starting to get full here. We're at 90%, so I'm not thinking we're going to make it to the end of this field here at the current rate of yield. We're getting a really good 251 bushels an acre on average right now, so I'm thinking we're going to stop here, not run over any more corn today, and we'll jump in the grain cart here and bring that over to the combine and get unloaded. This grain cart holds a perfect 2 hoppers of the combine here, so the grain cart's going to be full after we unload the combine here as well. And so I'm thinking what we'll be doing here is going ahead and getting this started unloading. Maybe we'll even start the worker off here on the combine and then go get the semi pulled out here so that we can start getting our corn put into the bins and get the dryer all fired up here. So we might as well start that worker off, and we can, I was going to say we can unload on the go, but we weren't quite in a position to get our grain cart moving fast enough here. but we'll at least get him to the end row here and finish unloading him. Oh, stop and let me unload. And then he should be able to turn around and start going again right away here as soon as he's done unloading, while we can run back up here to the farm and get this semi pulled out. Now, I think what we're going to do is bring this semi right up here into the corner of the yard and spin it around and unload in the yard actually here. I don't see a need to put this semi out onto the field and tear everything up. We've got this nice big area in the yard here that should be more than good enough to unload the grain cart. And all we're going to need to do is, I think, come down in here and come at the semi from the appropriate side so that we can get everything loaded up here. Just want to make sure while we're moving around in the yard, I'm not running into anything with my pipe out. Would hate to do any damage to anything. There we go. And I absolutely just love this grain cart. It unloads really quick. It works well. It's perfect size for a small farm like this. Great mod. Love this mod. And with that all dumped out here, we're going to zip on back down here and see if we can unload this combine on his way back up. He should be just heading up now. I do wish that when the helper was on the combine, it was knocking down the stalks, much like when you're driving it yourself. I know I was talking about how much I like that feature of the map earlier. That's one of the things that I don't like about how the hired help works. But we were able to catch the combine here at the end. Not quite as fast as I was hoping, though. So we might sit here at the end row and unload just a smidge. Make sure he's got the capacity to do this all again. But we'll be ready to unload him on the way back up, and then we'll just have the little bits in the back of the field here to do. And so we're knocking this out pretty quick. So we'll get out of his way here while he heads down here. And I think maybe we'll actually go get that corn dryer started with the first half load that we had there. All right, so we're going to unload him on the way back up here. And hopefully he's going to pick up most of that pass there, it looks like. There's a couple of rows from the corner that still managed to sneak in there. But what we'll do is go ahead and take this down to the end row. We'll take the combine back down here and get him set up to finish that bit, and then we'll hop over and put some of this corn into the grain dryer, I think, and get that running. I think we could probably get all of the corn from this field into the semi and unload that in a single go here. That might be the smartest idea. I just really want to get the grain dryer kind of kicked off here, moving. But more importantly, I want to get through as much of the harvest today as possible. So we are going to prioritize keeping this combine moving here. And so I'm going to pick up these little straggler rows, and then we'll get started on this back little piece. We've only got a few rounds here to go. It looks like maybe 2 rounds, 3 at the most. So off he goes, and we should be able to get back over here and get this semi moving now. It looks like we are going to manage to fill up the front hopper with what we've got so far, which is actually doing better than I was expecting. So we're going to just keep going here. And I'm kind of curious if we get a full semi's worth off of this little field in the back here. That would be pretty good yields for sure. So I guess as long as we're in the tractor, we might as well head down here and get it into a better position. Now, I'm not going to be able to unload him with where he's at right now, so we'll let him get going and get turned around here. And while he's doing that, we'll go ahead and grab the semi finally. I know I've been talking about it for a few minutes here. And see if we can unload this here into the grain dryer. Hopefully, we remembered to buy some propane so that this thing is going to fire up here. We'll have to check on that here in a moment. We're going to get the little bit out of the back unloaded first. And then we'll dump everything from the front. You can see our dryer has fired up here, so if we open up the global company menu and take a look at our corn dryer, we're filling up the wet tank actually pretty fast. The wet tank isn't that big. This map, I haven't edited this to be a more realistic size because we got such a small farm, and so we're doing really good. We got a lot of corn coming in here already. And we do have a fair amount of propane, so I'm not too worried about that, which is good because we don't really have that much money to buy any more propane. So that was going to be a concern for us. And I think actually I'm going to leave this truck right here, since we're in the back section of the farm here anyway. We'll get this grain cart going. See if we can go unload that combine, which is full again. Oh, nope, he was just turning around. And so he should be nearly full again and is on the last pass here. So we'll get him unloaded and get that corn into the dryer as well. And then we'll be ready to hop into the next small field around the farm here and knock that out without any trouble. Hopefully we'll get into that big cornfield on the other side of the map here as well yet today. It would be nice to get that all opened up, I think. So we're all done with this field back here. We're gonna take this all the way up here and get it going right away here on our other small cornfield right up by the farm. It's a pretty small field, so it's not gonna take us but probably 10 minutes to harvest this field up here, if that. We're going to spend more time opening up the headlands here around the trees than we are going to harvesting the rest of this field. And so I think the most efficient way to handle this is going to be to cut in right here and take all of these angly, curvy rows up around the trees out, clean up our headlands, and then it'll be just a few passes up and down the length of this narrow field. I think 2 headland passes with this combine setup is doing all right for us, so we'll just take this pass off and then send him down to the other end of the field here. We might be able to unload him on the go down the length of the driveway here, I'm thinking, if we can get back to our grain cart fast enough, that is. So we're going to go ahead and let our helper take care of this combining bit and grab the grain cart. Now, rather than try to sneak through the yard with my pipe out, I think we are going to just run up here and go down the headland here. We got a little bit of a grassy area here, so we're not tearing up this field too much. And we should just make it to the combine here as he gets to the end row. So hopefully we can get him unloaded here before he tries to turn around on us. And we probably need to attempt to take off some headland passes on this end of the field as well. I don't think we've got much of a headland up here, and we definitely don't want to be turning around on the road. But we did make just about perfect timing here on catching up with the combine, so excited about that for sure. We're all emptied out here, so we should be able to just take this headland off real quick here and finish knocking this field out. Like I said, I think this is going to be like maybe 4 rounds. Can't recall. It's not very many. By the time we go get this grain cart emptied out and get back up here, I think the combine's going to have already taken a pass or 2. So we're not going to be doing a lot of waiting around on this field. The yield has been really good for us here so far, and I expect that to continue. We've been doing a good job of taking care of our fields, and we've had really good weather on this playthrough so far. We turn the HUD back on. We're getting about 247 bushels to the acre here. If we just take a quick look at the precision farming map, you can see that our soil is pretty consistent in this field. So I would expect to see that we get a consistent 247 bushels to the acre across this field as we're continuing to harvest. And we are going to top this grain cart off as long as we're here. We had a fair amount in the hopper already from taking off the headlands, so might as well make the best use of our time here and make sure that the grain cart isn't going back half full. And at this point, I think the helper's going to be able to handle things once again, so we'll let him get going and run this back up to the farm. Alright, so we've got that all dumped out. Let's get back out here in the field. I know our combine is most likely waiting for us here. We're gonna miss unloading him on the way back up, it looks like. But it does seem that he is pretty much full at this point. So if I had gotten back out here a little bit quicker, that would have been better. We could have unloaded him here before he got full on the end. Unfortunate. So let's go ahead and I think just pull up here onto the headland behind him, and then it'll be easiest to unload into the grain cart, I think, on the headland here. Alright, well, hopefully now that we've got this guy all emptied out here and we've got space in the grain cart, we're going to be able to keep up with things. We should be able to keep this guy going here for the next couple of rounds. It looks like he got full after a full round. And so every full round we'll need to dump him out, and we've got room for 2 full dumps here. So I should be able to dump him out on his way back up here, both this time and part of next, and then go and unload. And between those unloads, we should get to the end of this field here, I think. We'll see. So time to put our theory to the test here. Looks like we're getting closer to full here. Hopefully we can get unloaded here on the way back up. We got slightly distracted down there on the end of the field. It didn't quite make the turnaround here. We could probably start unloading him a little bit earlier next time. And it actually looks like we're going to be full here coming down to the end of this time. We've got a bit more corn than I expected for sure. And there we are. We're completely full up here. So we'll run this back up to the yard here and then hopefully get back out here in time to catch him on his way back up this time. Last time we got just a little bit distracted here, but we're going to be able to knock this field out in no time at all. I definitely like corn harvest a lot because it keeps us busy. There's not a lot of waiting around. The combines fill up quickly, so there's always enough to do as a grain cart driver here. And because we are going to have to sneak through the yard here, because that's the direction I went, we're going to put our pipe in. I just don't want to risk running into the shed there. And we'll just dump this right in here. We've already got most of the front hopper filled up. I suppose I could have driven the truck out to the field here, but with it being so close to the yard here and not a lot going on, it was just easier to drive back here and dump into the truck rather than bringing the truck all the way up to the edge of the field. And as you can see, we were much more efficient this time around. We didn't stop and take a sightseeing tour here, so we're able to get back out in the field and catch this combine right away on the turnaround, which means we should be able to get the rest of the harvest, get the rest of this field put into this grain cart and have enough capacity in the combine here to finish everything up. I think we've got 1 round left, maybe a round and a half, it looks like, so we're in a really good spot on this field. Got another little dead spot there in the field, but not too big. Most of the corn ground did pretty well. Our soybean ground, on the other hand, is pretty rough looking up here in field 20 at least. Some of the other fields, field 18 actually looks a little rough for a corn perspective as well. And so we'll have to take a look at that here at some point. But field 24 and field 25 came out pretty clean. So I'm excited about that. These are probably our best fields from a yield perspective here on the farm. We'll see how the other ones do as we get over there. And we're just going to keep unloading him down here to the end. He's pretty much cleaned out now at this point, but it'll be easier for us if we just make sure he's got enough space to get down to the end row and get turned around here. We're already at 52% of our grain cart here, so we're going to be full up by the time we get back down to the other end of the field here. Last round here, there's a couple of rows left there on the end of the field that he's going to have to pick back up on the way back down, but that's okay. We're getting not full, but close enough to start unloading here. So we're going to grab what we can, and we should fill up the grain cart here. The combine will have just a little bit left in it that we'll have to get out before we pack everything up and head over to the field on the other side of the map here. But for now, we're doing really good. We're getting more corn off of these fields than I expected. I didn't expect to get a couple of full semi-loads, a little bit more than a couple of full semi-loads. I think once we're all said and done here is going to be our total yield. And so once we get this cart over into the semi, I think it's going to actually be full again here. So we're going to top this off here. I think we're just about full. We're at 99% of the grain cart here. Let me take a look at the HUD. And so the combine's going to be more than capable of knocking out the rest of this. And we're going to zip back down into the yard one more time here and get this corn into the grain dryer. I want to say our grain dryer might have already stopped with that one semi-load. I don't know how fast it's set up to dry right now, so I'm just not seeing the steam coming out of the grain dryer here. So maybe that's because we're just not close enough and it's on the other side of the shed there, but I thought it went up pretty high before, so we'll take a look here. Yeah, I'm definitely not seeing any steam coming out of the dryer, so it might have actually finished here. If we pop open the global company menu, yep, we've moved all of that over onto the dry side, so we're doing pretty good here, which means we need to get another truck loaded up in here. I think one of the things I need to start doing on maps when I start playing on them is just double checking the drying speeds and the capacities for the various bin sites that I'm going to be using to make sure that they're set to a somewhat realistic speed for things, just to make sure that it continues to feel somewhat realistic. I know on Flint Hills we actually had the opposite problem where the corn dryer wasn't quite fast enough, and also it didn't have nearly the capacity that it needed to have to represent real life, so we had to adjust both of those things. Here, I feel like the capacity is off and the grain dryer might actually be a little bit too fast. So again, little things that we can adjust at some point in the future. But we didn't actually manage to unload everything in the grain cart here. So we're going to finish unloading the grain cart real quick and then get this run up and empty out our combine as well. Because I believe I believe the combine is now done harvesting this field up here. And I guess the convenient part of having the 2 rows to come all the way back is that the combine is now up here closer to the farm. So we've got all the corn out of the combine here. We might as well just toss this little bit into the grain dryer as well here. It's only another 48 bushels, but we might as well be as efficient as possible, get all of this corn drying before we pack up all of our equipment and head a few miles down the road here to our other field. And if we look one last time here at the global company screen, you can see we've got 51, almost 52,000 liters over here to our almost 60,000 liters on this side. So combined here, we got just over 100,000 liters of corn, which is going to come up at, just short of 3,000 bushels of corn that we brought in today, which is actually pretty good. We did good on these two little fields. So I think what we're going to do is just bring this up here since it's empty. We're going to be bringing all of this equipment out to our larger cornfield that's out by that creek here, but we're going to do that next episode. I appreciate all of the well wishes and support over the last couple of weeks as I've headed into having this surgery and going through recovery. I'm excited to be back at the videos today. Hopefully, as I get into editing, this won't sound too terrible and we'll be able to get this video out today. And look forward to posting regular content again on the channel. If you've enjoyed today's episode, drop a like, it helps the channel out immensely, and subscribe for daily farm sim content. That's all for today. Ketterk out. Oh, stop. Looks like we put a few rows of corn over here into the neighbor's field. Luckily, we're able to actually harvest that, so that's a little bit interesting. Field 18 actually looks a little rough for a corn perspective as well. Whoa.